Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us today. As above, so below, we're talking about Mars energy. Teaching everyone, you guys, this is your first time in my live and my streaming on TikTok. My name is Chief Apostle Samuel Jr. I am the apostle and pastor of Apostolic Faith of Jesus Christ Incorporated, and my beliefs are deeply rooted in the ATRs. The ATRs are the African traditional religions by which we harness, direct, and disperse energy, frequency, and vibration. I want to say to each and every one of you guys, first of all, I want to say thank you to my madrina, to my padrino, to my Oba, and to all of my brothers and sisters in Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, Lakumi, Congo, Palo, Mystic, and Adjays. To those that are in the church, salutation, and to those that have left the church. I want to say to each and every one of you guys, if you're trying to learn about magic, energy, frequency, and vibration, on this particular app, I do not teach my personal beliefs. I do not. I teach universal laws because they're applicable to each and every one. When it comes down to magic and conjure, to melanated people, thank you so much for the shares and the likes. Hello, good afternoon to you as well. I'm excited to be here today because here sharing knowledge, wisdom, understanding. If you haven't got an opportunity to visit my website, do so, sir and ma'am. I want to talk about for melanated people, especially those that are in America. And I want to talk about something that I preached for years. I'm pretty sure that many of you have heard, if you've been in the church or you've been around somebody that been to the church and you've heard them quote this particular scripture. But I was getting, I was around eating and different things in my house and doing work. And this thing really came to me to light today, and I want to teach people that are going to practice the ATRs, that are going to immerse in different businesses, different relationships. Thank you so much. I appreciate that for the gift. Now I want to explain this. My subject matter is diversity is distorted. And I want us to understand that in magic, there's a reason why certain things exist. There's certain reason why certain things are protocol. And when you're trying to really, it's just like when you're serious about a relationship, there are certain questions you ask. When you're serious about a job and growing in that company or that particular field that you're in, there are certain things that you're going to be aware of, or you're going to put yourself in a position to be aware of that. When it comes down to real magic, I'll say, I'm 53 years old. I've been doing magic ever since I was a child. Different types of magic, nevertheless doing magic. And I'm a Sagittarius. My moon is in Aries. My rising sign is Pisces. I do have my elecades on today because I was trying to separate them. And so I had to put them on my neck. And I want to talk about this because this is going to make a lot of clarity. And when you're surfing the internet and you're surfing things, and you're trying to get information about a particular working, and what people don't know, you can do money work through hoodoo. You can do money work through voodoo. You can do money work by using the Bible. You can do money work with Orishas, ancestors, Loas, Inkisi. Anything that carries an energy and they have jurisdiction over that particular area, that you can do that particular working with them, especially if you're involved or initiated or it's a bloodline thing. I try to be very clear because there's a lot of people that are interested, not committed, interested. Many people are curious about the black arts. They're curious. I want to say this. Just because a man or woman is curious about you, it doesn't mean they're into you. I want to give you different perspectives of how that you can be binge watching something and still not be into it. You're just trying to see what the next episode is going to bring. The same thing about hoodoo or voodoo or Santeria or Lakumi or Apollo. People are very interested in very, very different things, what they're accustomed to. We have a trend going on when it comes down to the ATRs. And I like to say, I was conjure when conjure wasn't cool. When I was practicing magic openly, when it was hidden, it was ostracized, demonized. I was very vocal about my spiritual beliefs. And it also caused me to go through a lot of changes because I've been in the church the whole time. This is what I want y'all to understand. I'm going to read this. This is Matthew, the 12th chapter, the 25th verse. And the reason why I say diversity is distorted, you'll hear. It said, and Jesus or Yahshua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself. This is very, very, very important. Every kingdom that is divided against itself, it shall be brought to desolation. Every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. The reason why that is important when you are growing into the ATRs, your bathroom, your living room, your kitchen, your walkways, your closet, they're divided. But they all have the same address. I want y'all to get this. You have seasons in your cabinet and they're divided. We're in the age of Aquarius, their individuality. A lot of times we look at division and it's preached or taught in a negative concept, but we're divided anyway. And this is one thing I want people to understand if you're living in the United States of America and even abroad. African people have always been divided. Not by house, but by tribe. I need y'all to understand that. When you're saying that you're coming from a royal priesthood, depending on whether you're coming from the tribe of Benjamin or Dan or Ephraim or Judah, you have different practices or different customs. When you grow up in a household, a single family household, you have certain principles, certain rules and regulations that you were reared by. I'm bringing this home. But when you go out into the world and you're interacting with other people that came up from a different raising, they got mama or daddy or they got grandma, whomever guardian over them as they grew up. These divisions, what makes us unique and allows us to learn. The reason why you hear people all over the internet from different tribes and different customs of magic talking about keeping things separate. I often look at situations, if I'm dressed in my Orisha attire, it attracts one sect of people. People say, well, what do you got on? I don't have to wear my eleques to be a crown santero. I don't have to walk around with a suit and tie to be a pastor and a preacher. A lot of times we are ascribing certain things to people, not realizing they have a, you hear the terminology, a person wears many hats. I'm going to explain why this is important. If you allow people to distort your diversity, they're going to separate you in the context that you think you are something apart from the whole. Thank you so much for the likes and the taps on the stream. For somebody, I understand that I don't have to be Jamaican to be a part of the collective. I don't have to be Haitian to be a part of the collective. I don't have to be a Black American to be a part of the collective. I have an individual purpose or why I exist. My gifts, why I have those particular gifts and ability. Why I have the particular measures that I have. I want people to understand when you're hearing people talking about separation, when you hear people talking about division, we divide our house up, we divide our apartments up. We when we're paying bills, we divide our income, whatever we have coming in. We're constantly in the concept. This is why it's very easy to divide and conquer. Because a lot of us have a mindset about being divided. She ain't me and I ain't her. One thing I've learned when I'm coming up in the church, and I want to break this down. Even though I recognize that many of my leaders and pastors, apostles and prophets and prophetess that were over me at the time, that they were doing the exact same thing that I was doing, but they didn't call it that. A lot of times when you are melanated and you are venturing out into other things, a lot of times many people from the church run from the church and go to the ATRs, thinking they're doing something apart from divine God, feminine, masculine energy. That is not true. How a person may utilize that energy, that frequency, and within a system may be different. But the energy itself, the force itself, the concept itself is not different. How it is administered is different based on the tribe that you come from. One of the powerful things that when you are in America, you have to understand why we feed into those type of divisions. Whether it's by where we shop, where we what kind of car we drive, or what kind of house we live in, what kind of neighborhood. All these are types of division. Our economic in United States is about division, tax bracket. We got all these different terminology that name the division. Why this is different from that. Why linen is different from polyester. There's nothing wrong with division if you understand, as long as you ain't being divided against itself. So you can do voodoo a different way, as long as you ain't divided against the concept of voodoo. And when you understand magic energy, that's why I teach about universal law. Because I see this oftentimes. People get lost, lose themselves, not only in relationship, but those relationships when it comes down to spirituality. Respecting the division for the purpose. The reason why you separate your salt from your sugar is purpose. One is salty and one is sweet. Life is the same thing. Energy is the same thing. The reason why we are divvied up in the zodiac signs, because you may be a fire sign as Aries, cardinal. You may be a fire sign Leo, fixed. And then you may be a fire sign Sagittarius, which is mutable. They're divided, but they're not divided of the element of fire. Air elements. People are trying to do manifestation work and not understanding why certain things are implemented in your prayers or your spell work or your rituals other than other things. Because depending on what vehicle that you're using to manifest, Whether you're using the air element through the spoken word or written petition, whether you're using the fire element through a candle or through a bonfire, these elements, these things are divided for a reason, but it has to do with the function that you have in this particular timeline. This particular scripture talks about dividing a house dividing against itself. The reason why Black American people, and I've saw videos, especially on TikTok, where other Haitian people are coming out and defending that they don't want to have they don't have the same opinion. I want y'all to hear this. They're coming out defending that they don't have the same opinion of the other Haitian girl that came out and said that Black American people are dirty. They never separated themselves from being Haitian. They separated themselves from the opinion of that particular Haitian. Diversity, when you lump everybody in the same bowl, and what happens is you think everybody have the same opinion about root work. You think everybody have the same opinion about cleansing, head cleansing, by a spiritual cleansing or astral cleansing. Everybody don't, especially if you're in more than one tradition. Keep that separate so you will know how to function in that particular ATR. Crazy that those people haven't came into your life. They quit to flood other. I'm gonna say this. I'm a Sagittarius, and when I chose to be honest about how real magic is worked, whether you're in a botanica, whether you're in church, whether you're a solitary witch, whether you're a hermit, whether you work in the Kabbalah, whether you work in Obia, whether you're a part of something, whether you are an individual. Energy, frequency, and vibration ain't gonna change for nobody, whether you a young man or old man, whether you're a young woman or old woman, whether you're initiated or uninitiated. When people, let me explain something to y'all. When people want to complicate things, they throw up smoke stream. If you want to be a part of something and it's in your ancestry, because let me tell you that you hear people say it got to be in your ancestry or your ancestors have to be in that particular tradition, right? But they'll turn around and tell the people that are in the bloodline of that particular tradition what they can't do. There's always somebody trying to distort the purpose of gatekeeping, distort the purpose of division or separation. It has nothing to do with not being a part of the great divine, but having individual functions. To say that Michael is more of an archangel than Gabriel is asinine. But they have different functions. To say that Ezeline Dotor is a more of a Loa than Papa Legba, it's asinine. To say that Zarabanda is more of a Nkisi or Impungo than Centea, it's asinine. They're individuals that have individual functions in a particular system. But they all are a part of that same system. And when you don't understand that and you think you're doing something because you left the church or Presbyterian or Lutheran or wherever there's energy, frequency, and vibration, you're going to always, great evening. What's up there, my Gemini in the house? I want to talk about this because Black people are easily divided. And you need to know where that division comes from and why people can play the same playbook or the same, run the same strategy, and it becomes effective. Always understand that when you are a part of something, you're always a part of it. If I don't show up for not one family reunion, it does not make me nothing less than a family member. Me not participating, thank you so much, Dimitri. Me not participating in something doesn't mean I'm not a part of that. So you not being in the church don't mean you're not a part of that. You not being on the street don't mean you're not a part of that. You have a separation of where you manifest or where you operate. But what the truth is, when it comes down to division, black people, no matter where you are, black American, black Haitian, Jamaican, Puerto Rican, you're separated in the idea that you're not them. And that's not good. I'm going to explain why. You're going to always miss the big picture when you separate yourself mentally and emotionally to the point you don't see yourself as a part of that individual. Why you think so many people that in the church, if you say that they're doing the same thing that the psychic doing, the person going for a word from the prophet versus the person that's going for a word through divination, it's the same thing. Church folks, black church folks especially, and white church will deny that. Mediumship is the office of a prophet or prophetess. Even David putting it on the ephod is mediumship. The priest. You can't, because you call something different, doesn't mean it's actually different. It's how you use it and the terminology that you were taught to speak that. Thank you so much for the gifts. It's important that when you get a part of something, that you understand that it's connected to something. And most black people, and I'm not here to call out nobody. You would never take the time to actually learn enough so you would understand where it connects at. When we hear don't do something, we want to rebel. Why I can't do it? It may not be time for you to do it. You may not be in the position to do it. You may not be in the mental and emotional capacity to do it. I tell people all the time, and I've been saying this for years, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. These points that I bring out is significant. All of a sudden, I hear over social media somebody taking the point that I'm making, and they try to dress it up different ways. I don't care if you learning, if you doing spiritual work for somebody, and I'm able to help you be more clear about your gift, your talent, your ability, whether you're in the church or not in the church. My problem is, why you out here down in the church? And the church world, church people, not the church people have done some hideous stuff, whether it's black or white, race, creed, and color. But the institution of the system itself is effective. How can you preach and teach against the church and turn around and utilize the teaching that you got out of the church? And I don't care if you got that teaching from your grandmother or a pastor or a teacher or a minister. But that teaching that you got about faith did not come from yourself. You got that from. So don't go against the house. You can have a problem with the people in the house of voodoo, in the house of Santeria, in the house of Lukumi, in the house of Ocha, Christianity, Islam. Me and my son was talking about Malcolm X and Honorable Muhammad and Farrakhan, and how you can be a part of something and you get so full of yourself till you want to come from among them, but you feel like you have to destroy the house you came from. I want y'all to think about that. It is no different than black women saying to black men that want to go out and date or marry outside their culture, why you got to put down us in order to be with them? Whoever them it may be, whether it's white or Chinese, Asian, it don't matter. Black women have a big problem, and they should, that your basis of dating outside of your race means that you got to put down the house or the womb you came from. That's idiotic. That is what most black women or black men that defend that concept say is self-hatred. If people work really hard for you as a black man or melanated man or woman to dislike your melanin, things that represent your melanin, religions, systems that represent your power, your energy, your frequency and vibration, and those that are embarking in it, you're trying to bring Christianity concepts into ATRs, and they're not the same. It needs to be separated. You are there out here rebuking you a Santero, or you a Tata, you a Mambo, and you rebuking in the name, rebuking people. That is nowhere in the concept of ATRs. Keep things separated so you don't get confused, number one, and you don't confuse other people, number two. And you understand diversity. There are certain things that I'm able to do now, crown, that I wasn't able to do as a chief apostle. There's things I'm able to do when it comes to Apollo that I wasn't able to do as a chief apostle. There's certain things that other Santeros or other Tatas can't do what I do because I'm a chief apostle. Do you understand? When you got a leader or elder that got diversified hats that they're able to function in and keep that thing separated. I'm not going to throw Shamalungas in Ocha with my Orishas. That belongs to my cauldrons. If you would actually learn what energy, frequency, and vibration, all right there, tree. What energy, frequency, and vibration. The reason why, even in relationships, we just are attracted to somebody for whatever reason, whether it's out of a need or whether it's out of physically attracted to somebody. And then you try to bring what you were taught or not taught and immerse it or merge it with somebody else that has different teachings or lack of teaching. And that's why we have all these misunderstandings. Because nobody's really sitting down and understanding why I'm an Aries, why I'm a Gemini, why I'm a Taurus, why I'm a Cancer, why I'm a Capricorn, why I'm an Aries, why I'm a Pisces, why I'm a Virgo, why I'm a Leo or Sagittarius or Scorpio or Libra. These things help you to function in life. On a job, help you function in your business. You know how to utilize your energy, your frequency, and your vibration. One thing that I keep saying, and I say this over and over. understand how energy, frequency, and vibration works. That takes time. That takes you having certain experiences. If you want to be confident in hoodoo, there are some people that are practicing hoodoo that are not good at it, but they practice. I'm going to say it again. Just because you practice something don't mean you are effective, man or woman. I'm going to say that again. Just because you know the Bible don't mean you're effective. Just because you know the Quran don't mean you're effective. Understanding your ache, your chi, your prana is really important when it comes down to you integrating with other traditions. And you don't want to be a image that brings about confusion. This is why I separate, even though I'm the same individual operating in these different aspects of my spirituality. But I don't coincide those systems and those tools together. I got beads from me with Paulo. It's on my statue. Just like you don't want to see a toilet in your kitchen because it doesn't belong. It belongs in the house, but it don't belong in the kitchen. Division was not started by man, it was started by the spirit. The spirit broke up, the universe broke itself up in many particles. We call it the God particle. It's feminine energy, masculine energy, and organ energy. You may be consistent of, but most of us are both. We're dominant in one versus the other. And that's in anything. I would tell people I'm androgynous spiritually. I have masculine and feminine energy. And I utilize them effectively because I have understanding of their function and their purpose. You can be more effective in your prayer, in your petition, and you will have more confidence of allowing things to make manifest without being frustrated and then giving yourself the time to get something manifested. If you're going to practice, that means that practice means realistically, you're doing something over and over again. You have to do that thing over and over again until you get effective. You want to be effective as a reader. You want to be effective as a conjurer. You want to be effective as a storyteller. You want to be effective as an actor or a lawyer. You don't just want to hold the office, but you want to be effective. The reason why we're not capitalizing on the ache, the chi, the prana of daily. This is why you hear me say, as above, so below. Certain planets are ruling, which that is understanding for you, no matter what your tradition is, that this particular planet has jurisdiction over this particular 24 hours. This is why they were telling you guys about the alignment of planets. Certain things are not going to come around again right away. If you were trying to do magic with Halley's Comet, so to speak, Halley's Comet comes every 60 years. If you don't do that magic in the space of the time that particular meteorite is in your atmosphere, then you got to wait another, 60 years. The same thing about the man that was at the pool of Bethesda. The angel came down in a certain season and stirred the water. Your timing, and when you implement, when you sow seeds, are you sowing seeds just before winter, or did you sow seeds in the spring? You can't expect to sow something going into another season and expecting it to sprout up like that. That means that the seed that you put in the earth, whether it's financial seed, whether it's seed turning your situation around, love, it don't matter what it is. But what you did was make it hard. You allow different condition. If you sowed it in the season, it would have had the right conditions to grow and to manifest. You waited till it got on the cusp of another season to sow a seed. You got to space out time for evolution of a thing, evolving of a thing. Whether that thing is being birthed through air, whether that thing is being birthed through fire, whether it's being birthed through water, whether it's being birthed through earth, that matters. And when you are trying to bring certain realities in your life, you need to know what system that you're trying to utilize to bring into your life. If you're going to get work done from a voodooist, you need to understand voodoo. If you want to utilize hoodoo to get work done, you got to understand hoodoo. Obeah. You got to understand the spirits or the systems by which they're divvied up and how they move and interact with other people, places, and things. And this will allow you to be on time when your manifestation takes place. I was sitting up here and thinking about where my ministry is headed. And the reason why this is important, because I can't guide nobody when I don't know where I'm going. You got a lot of people out here doing work that don't have a vision. If you just want to be a wife, what's the vision? If you want to be a husband, what's the vision? How do you break yourself up to fit these functions that you're trying to aspire to? I'm going to say this again. If you want things to flow smoothly in your life, you got to understand diversity. You have to understand why it's important. But you're not then being divided against the house of a thing. Don't walk out of the church or the Christian world, so to speak, because a lot of stuff we teach in the church ain't got nothing to do with Christianity. It's a knockoff from Kemet and Egyptology. That's so true. It's like you want to get your car done, but need to know what needs to be done. Exactly. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of information on social media, and everybody is presenting themselves as they're the go-to man or woman. They know this, they know that. Let me explain something to you. I've been doing this since I was a child. I'm 53 years of age, and I'm still learning. I'm going to say that again. Even if you got a degree in something, you have a finite understanding, and depending on what school and what information you were privy to is what you actually have learned. Because you've learned something doesn't mean you can execute what you've learned. And if you want to be proficient at it or excellent at it, that means you're going to have to endeavor in that same thing over and over again. You know how many times I done did money rituals? How many times said trust your intuition if you tune in? You got. Let me say, I'm gonna say this, because in different traditions, intuition is called different things. Your individual radar is there to keep you on task with your destiny. I want you to hear that. But there's another connection you have with the collective of how your individual destiny operates within the collective. You perfect yourself to know yourself, right? Then you learn how to interact with other energy, frequency, and vibration effectively, where you are actually increasing or increasing them, because it's supposed to be reciprocity. You give, you get. And that's the thing, that even through social media, the energy you put out, the reason I'm doing the things that I'm doing, because I'm looking for that same energy to come back to me again in different facets, in different ways, but nevertheless, the same type of energy, the same type of frequency, the same type of vibration. It is important when you're doing protection work that you understand what type of protection work you're doing. Are you doing offensive protection, or are you doing defensive protection? Because they work differently. They both are up under the umbrella of protection. Just like money's working. You're a Sagittarius, so am I. We don't sugarcoat anything. We speak the truth, and but that's the thing, that when you have a certain aspect of, in my case, being a Sagittarius, there are certain things I got to be okay with people not liking me. I'm loud. I'm confrontational. I'm a Sagittarius with a moon in Aries, masculine energy, and then my rising sign is Pisces. It's on and popping over here. And I tolerate very little. But I also work well with others. And that's my growth. Because the 20-year-old Apostle Ely is that bruh, you could, as my mama would say, can't tell you Duke's thing, can't tell you the sky blue, can't tell you waterway. Because I had to grow from thinking I know to actually knowing. And that's a growth. And that's something that you learn over time. The more I learn, the more I realize what I didn't know. The more I go through things, I understand the different levels of healing. Like the last thing that I went through, that I'm coming out of right now, is my health. I've been healing people thank you so much, Demetri. I've been healing people since I was young. And then, hey there, she said, hey beautiful, how you doing? I'm doing great. But when I went through what I went through recently, the different levels of healing and being able to counsel people through adversity, letting people know the different phases that you're going to have to go through. That's why moon magic is so important, because if you're doing moon magic, you understand phases. If you understand the woman's menstrual cycle, you will understand that there's phases that you utilize certain energies in certain spaces. Now, if you got a projective energy like me, or fire, is in air, is different than a receptive energy like water and earth. They're both powerful, but they're utilized. They function different. When you put water out, it's a receptive. It carries energy. When you burn incense, air carries energy. That means, think about it, when you're dealing with carriers, and depending on whether it's receptive or projective. Just like a UPS driver, or a mailman, a mail lady, DHL, or any form of a carrier of products, or Amazon. Depending on what you put down, because if you got premium, especially with Amazon, you can get a lot faster, but you still got to wait on it. There are certain things that you order that you can get in the same day, depending on when you ordered it, or the very next day, depending on when you ordered. Magic is the same thing. When you invest, when you give abundantly, there are certain things can move a lot faster than when you give sparingly. And when I say give, I'm not talking about just to the church or to your spirituality, just in general. You have to understand, this is why I have a problem with people always thinking they're being used. You can't use me because you're only getting what I wanted you to have. And I'm a type of person, if I don't want to give you something, I'm not going to get. A lot of y'all, whether it's magic or whether it's relationship or whether it's your finance or health, you're so busy trying to get something out of somebody. So busy trying to get something out of the cemetery. So busy trying to get something out of the water. You want these things to yield you. But you're not giving what you're trying to get. The same frequency that you want to manifest in your life, you have to give that. This is why we have things like crystals to enhance our energy, our frequency, our vibration, our auric field. And this is the thing that I want y'all to understand. This is why math and science is so important. Multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. All this is important to magic. When you understand how things are categorized, how things are put in certain compartments, then you're able okay. I'm going to use this example on the source asked about blood water. Blood moon water. First of all, moon is a projective energy. Depending on whether it's full moon or what phase it was in. When you're dealing with water in particular, water carries a vibration frequency. The reason we're saying blood, we're talking about the color red. Red rules the root chakra, which is our ancestors. So when you're working with any type of blood, you're dealing with the whether it's animals or whatever, you're dealing with the spirit of that particular bloodline. And red represents your ancestor. So I will offer that type of water to strengthen my ancestors, strengthen my connections, strengthen my psychic abilities, enhance my five senses. I think that a lot of people don't realize how much protection that they could have by turning their attention on themselves and allowing the tools to perfect different versions of themselves. And therefore you are mentally stronger. You're emotionally stronger. One of the things that when it comes down to water, I understand that when I take something to the water, water carries current. You can drink any that water with the purpose of blessing it for that intention. Because water carries that vibration of your voice and your energy. And you speak to the water. Because our bodies are made of 75% water. And it's all about frequency. But remember, those type of spells only lasts as long as till you urinate. If it's absorbed in your body, it lasts longer. But a lot of people don't understand the reason why it's called rituals, because it's something we do over and over. And therefore, if you got moon water, blood moon water, you want to have a certain amount of that water so you can do it, intake that water over a period of time, and with a purpose. Because magic is not something you just do. There has to be intention. It has to be vision. You have to have goals. You must. Say for instance, you're going after something, and there are obstacles. You need to know how to come through that with the water element. You need to know how to flow over that situation, or you need to know how to break down that situation, because water can break down. When we're cleansing our bodies, we use water to flush our system. So banishing something from you, removing certain things. And let me say this, because there's so many aspects of dealing with this kind of stuff. And that's what I mean by diversity. You have to think about, you don't want to overdo anything, because too much water will wash all the nutrients out of your body. Dishing too much will actually remove the good bacteria. You understand? Balance is so important. This is why Libra rules the scales. And this takes you to learn over a period of time. And a lot of us learn out of trial and error and say, no, I ain't doing that no more. I remember the first time I put cinnamon in my water, like the oil cinnamon. When I tell you it lit me up on fire. See, that's why you use cinnamon sticks in your bath water, not cinnamon oil. And these are the things you learn when it comes down to the type of element, the type of instrument that you use. I be trying to tell people, I've been dealing with conjure and different aspects of conjure. But one thing has not ever changed. My conjure is strong in these diverse systems because my foundation is strong. And if you don't take out time to build you a sure foundation, that's why the song says in the church world, blessed assurance. You need some insurance on your foundation. You need some backup on your foundation. And then when you build things on your foundation, you need to be careful how you build your foundation. In other words, you don't just throw your walls up. You don't just use any type of material to build your walls. Your roof you got to have a roof that has sturdy and treated wood. Yep, cinnamon oil will definitely get you hopping if you put it in your bath. Yes, sir. And I share this kind of stuff because people, like, whether you working with it or not, maybe you was intending to do that. Now you know, don't do that. Get you some cinnamon sticks. It's still cinnamon, not that oil. You gonna meet your maker. But I want to say to each and every one, thank you for the hearts, the tapping of the stream. Let me tell you another thing. Let me tell you something else. When it comes down to your protection, be careful what you're saying. And don't forget what you're saying when you're praying or petitioning. I'm going to say this again. Never forget what you declared. Never forget what you've spoken. Because when it starts materializing, when it starts to come into fruition, you will recognize it. This is why when people do protection work and they group so many things attached to their protection, they don't realize. Let me give you an example. Okay, I'm asking God to protect me wherever I go, wherever I may be. That's a very general statement, right? But when I'm walking in other people's boundaries or their energy field or the places that have been consecrated for other purposes and things, I become an opposition to that energy. I'm going to say it again. When you are utilizing protection, you have to understand that when you're declaring certain things, that's in your personal space. But when you go out to interact with other people's energies and boundaries that they've done set for, you can get into spiritual opposition. Like people like to call it warfare. But you could be in warfare simply because you in somebody else's space and your energy is trying to override their energy that they put in that space. That's whether you visit somebody's house, apartment, somebody's business. We're always interacting with energy, frequency, and vibration. And depending on how strong your energy is, you need to understand when you walk in there, in that space, that you're shifting that energy to match your energy. This is why when women, whoever the main woman is, if it's the mother in the house, all the daughters' cycle revolve around her cycle. Same thing is true when it comes down to energy. Whoever carries the strongest energy, frequency, or vibration causes everybody's energy to come up to their energy. This is why when you come around certain elays or, certain spiritual people, you're able to do certain things more effectively than you would be able to do it on your own. Because now you are in the atmosphere of that particular magi, Iyami, mystic, witch, whatever term y'all know. I don't care for the word witch, but if that's what you call yourself, or anointed vessel, understand that even in the, because somebody told me they made a statement about the Holy Spirit. This is church stuff. So I broke down in Isaiah 11, there are many different Holy Spirits. Holy means clean. That's all it means. And Jesus, Yahshua, is the only person, according to the Bible, that had the Spirit without measure. I'm going to say it again. So every one of us have a measure of the divine. If you walk around like you got the Spirit without measure, you're going to complicate your own life. If you walk around always trying to dominate a space or a place or a person, you're going to complicate your own life. Your energy is for you to navigate in your life to get the things that you have needed to get your daily bread. That's what your energy is there for. With the moment you step out of that and trying to influence other people, places, and things, then you become into conflict, or what we like to call spiritual warfare. Because your will is trying to prevail in a situation where somebody else's will may be the totally opposite of that. You can't bring prosperity into a place where poverty rules. I'm going to say that again. You cannot force prosperity or success in a space where poverty rules. This is why a lot of y'all always trying to turn things where you come into some knowledge or whatever, you doing your conjure and everything working for you real good, and then all of a sudden when you start to do it for other people, your stuff start falling. You know why your stuff start falling? Because a lot of times people ask for stuff that they don't really want. A lot of times people ask you for stuff to see if you can do it. Very few people step to conjure, mysticism, magic, energy, frequency, and vibration, understanding and knowing and believing already what's possible. Before you light that candle, before you light that incense, before you pick up your eggum stick, before you touch your cauldron, I already believe it's done. When it manifests, that ain't my control. But the idea that I'm already fixed in my mind and my heart that this is going to come to pass, my provision is going to be made daily. Which hour of the day that God decides to move? When I say God, I'm talking about divine feminine and masculine and organ energy. My son had a seizure for years. I worked on the medical inspection. Now his results came back. That's what I'm talking. Let me tell y'all something. The whole concept of spirituality is everything starts in the spirit world. It manifests in the natural. I've always been a person, I work on something on more than one level. Because you can have, it's just like the concept in the Bible when Daniel was praying. And the angel, when he did get there, he said that God heard you the first day you cried out unto the Lord. You're never going to convince me that I'm not heard by the spirit world. Now, if there's things like in that particular case, he was warring with the prince of Persia. And it held him up for an additional 20 days. And he arrived on the 21st day. I want y'all to hear this. When you're manifesting, you have to be already prepared for opposition. Whether the opposition is strong or futile. It don't matter. Because sometimes people hate on you, but they ain't doing no work. But that energy is there. So you got a little turbulence. But there's time that people are actually putting up a fight. And you got to keep redoing what you're doing to get through to the other side. If you understood why it was, and I'm going to tell you, I'm telling myself, I would have never got involved into Ocha or Santeria Lukumi or Palo, any of that, if it wasn't for Minister Mario, son of Achosi. Me trying to help him because I personally was satisfied with what I had already learned through Haitian voodoo and, Obia and hoodoo, all that. I excelled in that area. And that's what taught me. If I'm going to be in the service of people, I never know who's going to walk through the door. I never know who's going to contact me. Whatever services they're going to need. And I can have the mentality of helping them. But if I don't have the tool. Not that I'm going to be initiated in every tradition that's out there. Because that ain't true. But I have a lot of hats that I wear. Which allows me to be able to help people in diverse ways. To counsel people in diverse ways. This is why I talk about diversity, not division. When you are dividing your spirituality against your conjure, your house gonna fall. Your city gonna fall. Even with the situation about Malcolm X, it's always the inside job. A lot of people say, oh, my mom and them broke up my relationship. Or my family broke up my relationship. Or my exes broke up my relationship. Or the outside woman broke up your relationship. Let me explain something to you when it comes down to energy, frequency, and vibration. If it ain't in you, they can't bring it out you. Just like people can't tell you they can make somebody fall in love with you because you can't put love in somebody's heart that ain't there for you. You can enhance affection. You can enhance opportunity. But that man or woman ain't gonna never love you. If they ain't got it in them naturally, people can't break up what you got going on if there's not already division among you. This is the truth. I don't care if it's the church. I don't care if it's the elect. Let me tell you something. I have disagreements with my padrino. But I don't have division. I want y'all to hear what I'm saying. I have disagreements with my family. But I don't have division. I don't want to see my house fall. My ancestral house. My spiritual house. My church house. When you got division in your own heart because you're coveting, you're envying, these are the things that bring in division. And when somebody tell you that you too good for the man or the woman you chose, I don't care if you get gay, straight, or bi. When you let somebody come in and tell you too good for the person you have chosen to be with, because that's your decision. They not telling you nothing that you don't already believe. I'm going to say that again. When you see things breaking up, when you see corporations breaking up, when you see there's somebody already divided. They came in with a different agenda. If they came in for you to take care of them until they get in a better place, ain't nobody, there ain't no spell. This is why the scripture says this real plain. Jesus, Yahshua said that like this. The prince of this world have nothing in me. April said, where you have been? I've been on YouTube. But I want to show some love on today on my TikTok because y'all been hanging in there with me as well. The prince of, I don't care if it's hoodoo, voodoo, Santa Real Cumin. I have to have something inside of you that you already think, that you already believe, that can anchor my work to you. A lot of people don't realize you can take a spiritual bath. If you don't change the way you think, people will attach their work to your negative thoughts, to your negative emotions. That's real talk. It is very hard to work on somebody that you ain't got the tools to crack their aura. When you already against yourself, it's easier to work on you. I told one girl, I said, I ain't gonna curse you. I said, you live a curse. There's nothing that I would do to harm you or ruin you that you ain't already doing to yourself. So in my opinion, it's pointless. A lot of times people don't understand, if you wasn't already cheating, they couldn't break up your relationship. If you didn't have certain mindset or certain emotions, people that have nothing to work with. I'm telling you, I don't care if it's hoodoo, voodoo. I've been doing magic and various types of magic for years. You can't kill me because I don't want to die. You can't kill me because, number one, I'm taking care of my body. Do you understand that? When you don't take care of yourself, you make it easy for the cleanup man or the cleanup woman. If you're not renewing your mind, if you're not self-educating, if you ain't staying in your lane, a lot of y'all think the people working on you and it's, baby, ain't somebody working on you. You in somebody else's lane. You got your hands on somebody else's property. Somebody, wait a minute. The mind is a powerful place it could use against you and open up you. The mind, let me explain something, y'all. This is what I mean by diversity. You got to know why you have a brain. It's a satellite. Just like a satellite, whether for your phone or any other thing, guiding planes or whatever. A satellite or satellite in space, it receives and it gives information. That's all this is for. Just because you have a thought, you ain't asked one time where that thought come from. I don't care if it came from mama, daddy, brother, sister, or cousin. When that thought is being challenged by truth, because you feel some type of way about the truth you heard that's challenging the thought you were given, you think there's something wrong with the truth. When we tell you about truth, about magic and spirituality, and you think it's an easier way, and most of y'all that's running, whether it's running through relationship or running through jobs or running through circumstances, situation, you only running for yourself. Sir and ma'am, you're only running from self. We are a reflection of every individual we encounter. Some aspect about self is showing up in somebody's energy. When you hear people say, people treat you like you treat you, why? How you let them treat you? Because when somebody disrespect you and you already don't feel like you, because I'm not speaking about you out here sounding off like you confident. I'm talking about how you really feel, the energy on the inside of you, the thoughts, the emotion on the inside of you. And when they say something, they do something, it triggers that energy in you. That's why we have the term, I feel a certain type of way. I'm a Sagittarius. I know the truth offends. I'm okay with you being offended if it's a truth. You need to understand why you were offended. We like to attack people that offend us instead of attacking the offense or why we were offended. When they say I'm performing witchcraft, I don't get mad. I don't put enough truth out there to tell you what I practice. Them your terminologies. Those are your opinions. Those are not mine. I don't feel that way about myself. When you get a point in your life that you understand your diversity. What's up, Raina? And you understand your diversity and what it brings when it comes down to magic, then you can be acceptable of any type of working that is being done for you. I do powerful conjuring in every religion I'm in. But A part of that, and this is what y'all got to understand. It don't matter if you're working for somebody or you working for yourself. If you got unbelief on the inside of you, you're going to affect the outcome of that manifestation. I don't care what you practice. If you don't think you're protected, then you're not. Because it don't matter what I'm saying or doing around you or for you. Your mindset is that you're not protected. A lot of people that seek protection are always in somebody else's business. I'm going to say that again. Functioning in life in a healthy way is not about you being afraid. You would not have to fear the bulldog, the German shepherd that's in your neighbor's yard if you weren't in your neighbor's yard. You would never know what that dog can do. You would never experience the protection that I have on my life if you were never trying to attack me. Certain things that people experience is because of the action they're taking. When you overlook the opinions and the perceptions or the views of other people in order for you to have your view dominating, then you should expect opposition. That's Kim Johnson. What's up, babe? I want y'all to understand, magic is energy. When you believe a lie, because you're not used to telling the truth, and even when that truth make you look undesirable, or make you look not smart, or make you look like a fool, you still gotta tell the truth. Tell the real reason why you keep jumping from tradition to tradition. Is that your purpose? Or you feel like somebody else got something that you don't have? When I go through things, I don't blame my padrino, my Oba, or my members. When I was going through what I was going through health-wise, you know what I did? I made sure that it was an attack. When I realized it was something natural or hereditary that was coming through my bloodline, and I realized at that particular time that I had been warned about certain things concerning my health. And because I'm being honest with you, when the Oba was saying what he was saying about my health, because I wasn't feeling any of those symptoms, I disregarded it. The chief apostle Samuel Jr. Crown disregarded the information. I didn't even take it as he being negative. I just said, I'm not sick. I want y'all to understand that when people like me get up and share different things that we're going through, you can't act like you ain't never done that. Sometimes it's not that you don't believe somebody, you just don't accept it. Somebody says, thank you for your transparency. I literally have the health condition that I was dealing with. I literally, wait a minute. Listen, I have it in my book. It was written down. I couldn't even lie. And even when my padrino reminded me, he said, the Oba told you about your health and you said you weren't sick. I totally disregarded it. I was in that ceremony to get an Orisha. I call myself being preventative. And in that mindset, I disregarded the warning. That's all I'm telling you. Even if you got the best of intention, or you doing something for what you call the right reason. When you're saying, you know what, I know I need this, but I'm gonna get it at a later date. What if that later date comes at a later date, but your trial starts before your later date comes, and you don't have that tool, and you start going through what it is that was meant for you to go through? I'm not talking about people that are bothering other people. I'm not talking about people that are projecting their energy in spaces and places that they don't belong. I'm talking about just certain habits that we have as melanated people. And when we're focused on something, you overlook the exit. I've been driving and knowing that I had to get off an exit and get caught up doing something or looking down or whatever, but past the exit. A lot of times you got to go out there and turn around and retract where you were to get what you need, to get up on the right exit. Don't blame nobody. Stop being, yes, there's racism. There's systematic racism. But if you got the proper tools, there's certain things that would happen on my job. The quicker they were trying to do it to me, it was being flipped around. Because I was up on myself. It's no different than being up on your health when it comes to your body. There's very little that can happen to you if you up on yourself. I know that everybody got to die. I don't care how up on yourself. If your time is your time. But I'm talking about a lot of things that happen in our lives and things that take place in our body, in our life, that we have warning. And just like your body, you don't understand. Women more so understand their body and catch a lot of things before men do, because women are taught to pay attention to their body because of their menstrual cycle. But women override their warnings. Men don't perceive their warnings because they're not in touch with their body. And being not in touch with your body means that you are not in touch with your energy, your frequency, and vibration. So therefore, you don't know how your system works. You don't know how your sensors work. Or senses. I said sensors for a reason. Just like sensors on a car, they let you know that a car behind you, there are certain things that we were built in, because we're the microcosm of the universe, that it alerts us when danger is around, our spidey sense. But if you ain't in tune with your energy and frequency, it can be going off and you'll never catch it. Everything ain't going to come to you in a dream. When a spirit walks up to you and they see that you can hear and they speak to you and you're not listening, why would they come to you in a dream? They know that they already spoke to you and put the thought in your mind. But you got your mind so on other stuff that when that thought came to you, you thought about it, but you moved on. Magic is understanding energy. Whether you're an Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, or Lakumi, whether you got spiritual tools or not. This is blackthorn, a blackthorn wand. It's just as effective today that it was when I first got it. Because you're going through a trial or situation or circumstance doesn't mean your tools are ineffective. There's some things that you got to go through. This is what I mean by when God was raising me up He was putting different hats on my head. He was putting different tools in my tool belt. And I never would have got them if I was on the path that I was on. Thank you so much for tapping that stream. This is all important when it comes to conjuring. Whether you work in the Bible, whether you working with incense, whether you working with candles, whether you working with crystals, whether you working with cards. I've always, even very young, I love the tarot. I ain't never read the tarot, but I love getting readings from the tarot, which I understand where it comes from and in the setup. But when you have tools, I read these cards, the 72 names of God. When you have tools, salutations, Jeremy. When you have tools, you work with those tools, you become very effective with those tools. And you'll be able, and sometimes I don't really need cards to read people or situations, but I usually utilize it because I just like working with cards. And I'm very good at it. And so conditioning never changes your skill set. It changes your output, what you're able to output and do. I want y'all to know, if you are divided in your heart against the ATRs, against yourself, that's what's hindering you. Not somebody working on you, not somebody praying on you, not somebody doing contra. These things can affect you if you're not doing what you need to do for yourself. I really need y'all to get this. Black people, church people, or people that have been raised up in the church, have been taught that people can send things to them. That is true. But if they can't get in, the weapon can form, but it won't prosper because it cannot bring into fruition what it was sent out to do. Don't go around saying, whom God bless, can't no man curse, if you don't believe it. If I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing day by day, week by week, month by month, and year by year, then I'm going to be in a strong position to avert anything that somebody may try to do. And I already know that they got to manifest these things through the elements. Thank you so much for the gift. Thank you for tapping the stream. This is what is important. If you don't know the basics, then you can't basically rightly divide the word of truth. Truth to your situation, your circumstance. This is Tuesday. This is the day of Mars. Action, vitality, war. And let me tell you something. Know the difference between a battle and a war. Know the difference between a battle and a war. Know what it takes to finance a battle versus a war. Do not start a war. Iran, when you're fighting against somebody that got the mentality that those people have, they're not playing with you. They'll work with you, but they're not afraid of you. It's all about mentality, everybody. Every warrior is not the same. Every man and woman that pick up a sword is not a sword to me. It's the mindset of that individual. When they have no intention of losing, hell or high waters, you're in for it. Because some of y'all get mad and throw some work at somebody and forget about it. That person you throw it against, they ain't with it. And they going to fight and fight and fight, not only till they win and prevail, they're going to fight to put you under. Not you done started a war with somebody that got the mentality that you ain't ready for. I'm going to say it again. When somebody is as diversified, and let me tell you another thing what's wrong with that situation. When you ain't got but 4 years, and now you in a position that you cannot be reelected, and you go and start a war with somebody, they don't forget you. They don't forget you. They don't forget your children. They don't forget your grandchildren. Because a war is generational. You don't never start something. A lot of y'all right now are the product of your mama or daddy starting a war with somebody. And they went to Psalm 109 on your ass. On your mama ass. Your daddy ass. And even if they got protection, it still fall on you. You don't know that your mom and daddy out there starting wars. Setting fire to other people's situations and circumstances. And you wonder why you being drawn to the ATRs. Because you need help. You need protection. And mostly when you think you in a mindset that I ain't bothering nobody. But you don't know what your bloodline done did. You attached to all of that. I don't care how much you may say, oh, I'm not with home wrecking. But you know your mama is. You know your sister is. You know your cousin is. And when them people start defending themselves spiritually, you get some of that output. That's why cleansing, no matter whether you bothering somebody or not bothering somebody, whether you having spiritual knowledge is important. Because you never know what kind of atmosphere or condition you're going to find yourself in or find your kids or your children or grandchildren in. Because if you understand diversity but not divided, you can not like your family members all day long. Whatever coming down the pipeline still come to you. And if you don't shield yourself from it, you're going to have to deal with it. And that's just true. I really want to thank many of you guys for taking out the time in your day. I'm going to post this on my YouTube. Spirituality is not what is marketed. Let me let you share it with you. When something is marketed to a particular people, it's not necessarily with the intention of helping you. It's for you to invest. When you're being schooled, when you purchase something, you purchase it with purpose. Do you understand? If you're going to get involved in something, get clarity about the tool that you're purchasing so you can actually benefit from your investment. That's what I'm about. I want you to actually have a better understanding because it keeps you in line and it also keeps me in line. It keeps you to have realistic expectation. If you in hoodoo and that's what you good at, stay there. You in voodoo, that's what you good at, stay there. There's no bottom or depth in any of these ATRs, especially when it comes down to your measure, because you're going to go as far as they want you to go. And you're not going to go any further than they're not allowing you to go. I don't care what you practice. I'm powerful in these traditions because I was born and conditioned to be as powerful as I am. But it never stopped me from not having to go through my trials and tribulations or situations. And the older I get, the more I have a better understanding how to detour out of a lot of things. There's people that want to get into it with me to get a name. I was younger, I would take you up on that. I'm 53. I'm not gonna shed light on somebody that just trying to get a name. You understand? And this is stuff you grow into. This is a level of maturity that you grow into. This is another reason why traditions don't train you what's proper, what's effective, what's necessary, what's healthy. It's living life. I know how to defend. I know how to protect. I know how to provide. Visit my website. If there's any tools on there that you may see you may need, purchase them. But get clear, understand, because I have a lot of videos on my YouTube page to teach about various of things. I want y'all to really understand that don't compare people with multiple talents by having a variety of tools to other people that have selected tools. Because if you believe in something, you believe in it. If you trust something, you trust it. This is why I never put down my Bible. Now, this is not my Bible that I work with, but this is the one I read with. But I don't put my Bible down. I don't care what I got initiated in, because I know this works. If you find yourself putting down things because you don't think they're effective, you don't look at the thing, you look at yourself, because that's a tool. It's bad to have a gun and get beat up because you don't know how to shoot. Because everybody that purchases a gun don't know how to shoot. Everybody that carrying a knife don't know how to sling a blade. You have me so much clarity and confirmation today. You quite welcome. Always understand, I'm here to resonate with people that resonate with what I'm saying. I'm not here to impress my beliefs, my teachings on nobody. But if something makes sense, something is truthful to me, I'm going to apply it. If you got the same job, making the same rate of pay, doing the same hours, you're going to get the same return. If you want something different, and this all starts with you, when you get to the point that you want something different, something more, understand you need a tool. You need information. You need guidance. And you need a certain type of guidance. Ain't nothing easy. Don't let nobody on here tell you that all you got to do is go down to Dollar General and get this and that. Because if that works for them, that's because they have the arche, the cheat, the prompt. It's not the object. Because when you go down there, I've seen people go to the Botanicas, get the same candles, whether they get it through Amazon. You're not going to be able to manifest through those tools like me. You don't have my ache. You don't have my experience. And that's what I mean by diversifying, not dividing. I'm not here against the ATRs. I'm not here against the practices. I'm here against some of the mentality that people have when it comes down to spirituality. This is why you miss out on certain things. This is why you can't grow into certain things. And just because one person do something with you, don't mean another person gonna do something for you. I'm not threatened by people. That's why I do what I do. I want you to grow. Sometimes, and this is no different in relationships, sometimes people block your growth because they don't need you outgrowing them when they don't have much to offer. In all these traditions, everybody is not deep into these traditions. So it don't take long after you get initiated or after you get involved for them to start putting the blocks or the brakes on you. Because it is really about a man or woman being shallow or in deep. If they in the deep, they can afford to keep teaching you certain things on the land, to get in water, and depending on how deep they are. Because no master, here Apostle Ely, no master teaches anybody, all they know. Nobody do. So whatever that depth is to that person, out here is where they're willing to teach you. They're not going to teach you their depth. I don't care who it is. But if they got a lot of depth into certain things, that's why I freely give certain things that other people would charge for. This is why I garner the support that I have. This is why people go to my website. This is why people are interested in what I'm talking about. This is why people say, Apostle Eli, I miss you. I miss your lives, your talks, because you shed so much light. And there are certain people that no matter how much light you shed, they're not going to walk in that light. They'll talk about that light. They'll pass an opinion about that light, but they themselves are not going to walk into the light of that truth. They're not with that because they're not trying to be seen in that truth. They still like lies, deceit, con artistry. And depending on what you build your house with, and I'm talking about your spiritual house, is what you gonna reap. All right. Thank you so much, sir and ma'am. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for the gifts. My name is Chief Apostle Samuel Jr. I'm here. I'm getting recovering a lot better, and so therefore you'll be seeing more of me as I progress in my healing. I want y'all to understand. Support people that are real. Support people that know what they're talking about. And support people that know how to go through trial. When that Bible say a cloud of witness, a lot of things that I have overcome was because I saw other people go through and come out. That's why I have the confidence in the rituals and the prayers and the workings that I do. Because I learned that. And I saw the evidence of that mindset, of that support, and that investment. I praise God for each and every one of you guys. I thank God for you guys that hung in there with Chief Apostle through all the things I'm dealing with. I am repositioning my ministry to travel and to travel from place to place, doing different workings, and so I'm getting prepared for that. And just doing what I was really born to do. And I appreciate everybody being patient with that process. And I'm excited about and ready to meet many of you as I go on my particular journey. All right. God bless you. I appreciate you too.